Hey, everybody, we're back again with our crime thrillers of the 2010s. Got Brian, we got Doc. We're going to jump right in, try and keep these videos as compact as we can. We're doing our top five of the decade. So, Brian, started off with your number five.
Okay. This one's thriller slash crime. So number five, I needed room actually for my horror sci-fi, so I moved this one over here to this category. I've got Looper. It's kind of a sci-fi whodunit kind of thing. We had to kind of keep up with because it's kind of mixed in the time frames that you're going back and forth. It seems like the future isn't really that far advanced. It's just that they happen to have a time machine, and then these assassins go around and they kill people, but and then they do it for a certain amount of time, and then they're allowed to retire. But at a certain point, to close the loop, they have to send their younger self, back into to off them their older self. They have to capture their older self, send them back in
That's
time,
right.
and then their younger self assassinates them. It's got Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it. And I think it's got Emily Blunt plays the female character that's on the farm.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very interesting film. It's one of those ones you have to watch all the way through to where you totally understand what's going on. I really liked it. So that's number five for me. Number four was this really eerie movie that when I watched it, I just couldn't believe how far the character would be willing to go. It's Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal,
Oh, yeah.
where he plays the crime. It's like he finds out he can take crime scene photography and make some money on the side. And but then he realizes, it's kind of a big business, booming kind of business, and it's competitive. So what he starts doing is he starts actually committing the crimes, and so that he can be the first one on the scene
That's right.
taking the photographs. And his character is just so eerie and demented in the things that he's willing to do.
Yeah.
Definitely an interesting and hard watch. I mean, you got to really like get your gut check ready to go if you're going to watch this movie. Number two for me is one that really didn't get touted all that much. I saw it on Netflix. Was Wind River. It's got Jeremy Renner in it, and it's got Elizabeth Olsen. She's an FBI detective who has called to this small town to investigate this young Native American girl who gets killed. Where her body's found in the snow, and come to find out she had been raped, and she ran that far on foot out in the middle of the desert. I mean, in the middle of the mountains, and so she's called to the scene, and Jeremy Renner is like this extra guy who's going to help her out because he's a tracker and everything. And it's one of those ones where you get the backstory as you're going forward in the story. They're feeding you information a little bit at a time, so you're not sure exactly what has transpired until you're actually at the door when she's knocking on it. And then everything starts to come together rather quickly in your head about who's actually guilty of doing what. Yeah. And so it's definitely worth watching, though. I thought it was very well acted by both of those guys, and I enjoyed it. Number two is The Gray with Liam Neeson, where he plays a sniper who's hired to he kills off wolves that would come near pipelines and stuff where these guys are working and stuff. And on a trip home, their airplane crashes, and they're all stranded out in the middle of nowhere. And he's basically trying to help as many of them possibly survive as they possibly can while they're being hunted by these wolves. And I thought it was great. This kind of coming to terms with man against nature type of thing, and you're not even really sure how it fills out for Liam, whether he's actually victorious and his fight against the alpha male at the end or not. It kind of all leaves that up to you as the viewer. But I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was the pace of it was just about perfect for the storytelling, and I liked it a lot. But number one for thrillers had to be The Revenant. I couldn't see it going any other way. The movie's just well acted all the way through. Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, they just carried this film in directions that you just can't even imagine the amount of humor and suffering that somebody could endure just by sheer will to get revenge on someone. And Tom Hardy's character, he tells that story about how his grandpappy tells him a story how he found God in a squirrel, that when he was climbing up a tree because he was starving to death. And you know, he said his grandpappy ate that squirrel, but that's how he found God, was in that moment, you know, and those types of things. And I'm like, wow, that just sounds like really good, you know, fatherhood life lessons. And no wonder Tom Hardy's character was messed up so bad. Rich, you said it all about the movie. I think it was nominated for Best Picture. Did it win Best Picture?
I think it did.
Yeah, it did. I think it did. Tom Hardy was nominated for Best Actor. He did not win. I know Leo was also nominated for Best Actor, right? And
I think he won for that one.
He won for that. He should have won. Yeah. So it's a great movie. Everybody's got to see it. If they haven't seen that movie, definitely got to see that movie.
Very solid. How about that bear scene too? That was graphic.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's just brutal. It's brutal. Everything about that is brutal.
Yeah, it's a vicious scene, man.
They really filmed that well because it looks so realistic, you know, it's unbelievable. All right.
Good ones.
Very good, Doc. You're up.
I'm up. So that was a nice list you had there, Brian. Really.
Very good, Brian.
Your number one shows up somewhere else later on for me. So, but
okay.
I didn't throw it in that neighborhood, but my number 5 is actually, I think, one you had earlier, Brian, in the comedy. So, but it's Knives Out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess I like Daniel Craig here, man. You know, he's showing up in my my James Bonds. He's showing up here, and he shows up again. So, but Knives Out is a really good. I mysteries and those kind of movies, and you know, the whodunits kind of things are few and far between. So when they happen, I enjoy them no matter what. You know, there's something. Not too many Agatha Christie's movies getting made these days. So when you see something like this, it's different. It's really well done. I thought Ryan Johnson did a really good job with this. I think he actually made Rogue One too. It was just a really well done whodunit kind of movie, and I really like those kind of things. So for a crime thriller mystery kind of neighborhood, that fit the bill for me at number 5. There's Daniel Craig coming in again at number 4. So here comes the girl with the dragon tattoo.
There you go.
So, and it's another one of these whodunits or, you know, backstory mystery solving kind of cases, murder cases, and what happened and how did things happen, and some pretty good twists and turns on how you actually get there. So I apologize about my cat showing up there, guys. Sorry. Out of the blue, but it's another really well filmed, well done, real mystery movie. This is a whodunit right to the end again.
Yep.
And the cast is great. So
great cast.
Yeah, it's a great cast. Really well acted, and I just love the flow of the movie and everything that went with this thing. So this was once again right in my wheelhouse for this type of category. My number 3 is Hell or High Water. Really like this flick. This is a crime movie that really it starts off Chris Pine and Ben Foster in this movie are really good.
Really good.
It starts off out of the gate, you know, with this bad robbery scene, and it cooks all the way through from there, man. On the run, you know, what they're trying to do and everything else. And Chris Pine is really good in this flick, man. Ben Foster is freaking incredible in this movie. Oscar kind of neighborhood, if you ask me.
It was nominated for Best Picture.
Yes,
it was nominated for Best.
It was the year that they started expanding the amount of nominations and stuff, so it did get nominated. Yeah,
I didn't know that, but I thought Ben Foster was fantastic in this flick too. Jeff Bridges, I think, was nominated.
Yeah,
I think Jeff Bridges was nominated for this as the cop chasing them down. So it's a real good, you know, crime movie, to be honest with you. My number 2 is Parasite. I love this movie, to be honest with you. It's maybe I like a couple of these subtitle movies or something. I don't know. It's you know, Das Boot and this, but you know, this is this was really well done, man. I thought, for the accolades that this got, I thought it was well deserved. I enjoyed it. It's a twisty little story about what's actually happening here. And, I can get my 13-year-old to sit down and watch this movie with me and actually read it as it's happening. It's a pretty good flick if you can keep him enticed. So,
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good thriller in that sense, that it was really well acted. The twists and the turns you don't see kind of coming, and the lengths that people were going inside this movie were really pretty deep in some senses. And I love the twists and turns in it. I just think it stands out as definitely one of the better ones, I think, of the decade for me. But my number one is right to a criminal crime movie. So I'm going to The Town with Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner. This is a vicious. This is all these robberies happening in this one spot in the Boston suburbs. It's going on and stuff. And they show it. Ben Affleck can hit. Ben Affleck can miss. Sometimes I think, Ben Affleck's going to turn around. He's going to look at you, and before you know, it's going to crack up on the screen because it looks like his character's going to laugh in every third scene. Sometimes he's really good. And this is one of those times, This is Argo. He's pretty good in this one. This one, he's fantastic in it. And, his directorial, he's even the Gone Baby Gone, when he directed that and stuff like that, it was really well done too. So the guy's got some talent here, and I think it shows in this one. And it's really well written. It's
beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great crime movie, man. It's I could watch that one almost any time, man. It's a great flick.
Good.
Number one for me.
Excellent choice. Now, you guys pretty much filled out my list, but I have to go through it anyway. I've got you've already, between the two of you, discussed 4 out of my 5.
Oh,
so that's pretty impressive. Number 5 is Wind River. I really like this movie with Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen, directed by Taylor Sheridan, who has turned into a good, solid director. He also does the Yellowstone series on cable with Kevin Costner. I think he's the screenwriter and the mind behind that. So he's good at these Western kind of whodunits. This is a solid movie. Jeremy Renner finds the body, as Brian said, of the young 18-year-old girl on the reservation out in Wyoming. An autopsy reveals she was murdered, and Elizabeth Olsen's brought in to investigate. She's an FBI agent. Really solid movie. You can feel those snowbanks and the wind coming at you, and it says a lot about the landscape, and not a lot of people can survive in that weather. They tell you that. And you learn a lot about the Indian reservation too, as well. The ins and outs of it. Number 4 is Hell and High Water, which Doc had. I was really surprised I liked this movie because I knew nothing about Chris Pine going in. I've seen Ben Foster in the past. I like his work. They were both good together as these, I guess they were brothers, planning this robbery to get some money back to save their ranch or whatever. They had an incentive to target certain banks. And then Jeff Bridges plays this Texas Ranger who's a week or 2 away from retirement. And this is like his last hurrah, trying to reel these guys in. Really, really good mystery. I wouldn't say mystery, but a good crime thriller.
It's kind of a neo-Western too. I would categorize it as a neo-Western.
It is a neo-Western. The
one
one brother,
Old Country for No Men, No Country for Old Men vibe.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, and it's in the same part of the country, I believe, too, West Texas or whatever,
West Texas,
wherever they shot it. The one brother, Ben Foster, is kind of a loose cannon type. You never know when he's going to go off and fire when he's not supposed to. And Chris Pine is more heady guy. They work well together. I enjoyed the movie, and Jeff Bridges. Let's face it, you can't go wrong with him. One of my all-time favorite actors. He gets better with age. Number 3 is Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Looking David Fincher's classic. I love this movie. Rooney Mara is the star of this movie, as far as I'm concerned. She sinks into that role as this computer genius trying to find clues to help Daniel Craig here. he's hired by this wealthy family headed by Christopher Plummer to solve the murder of his niece that happened like 40 years ago. Who he thinks someone in his own family killed her. And between Mara and Craig, they team up. She's a hacker, and she gets into all this different technology and stuff. Very dark. It's one of these onion, peel the layer away a little bit by a little bit until you finally, again, the last few scenes, it's revealed who the bad guy is. Suspenseful, atmospheric. It's got all the good categories and attributes that you want in one of these kind of movies. And there's a horrific rape scene with Rooney Mara and this guy who's trying to control her funds at the bank, I believe, or whatever.
Yep.
Her father's estate, and he just abuses her, and eventually she gets her revenge. I don't want to give too much away, but it is the brutality involved. She outwits him and has the last little turn on him. Number 2 is one we haven't mentioned, and I really thought this was a solid movie. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I love this movie. I watched it 4 or 5 times already since it came out in 2017. Frances McDormand, one of our favorite actresses, is in this as this mother who's seeking justice for her daughter who was raped and burnt to death. And she puts these 3 billboards up to get some kind of reaction because her case hasn't been solved. And it incites the ire of the local sheriff, played by Woody Harrelson. And you got Sam Rockwell as the racist deputy, Lucas Hedges as the young son of Frances McDormand, and he's torn because he wants his mother not to be as vicious and outgoing as she is, but there's still some empathy there because he lost his sister too. This is a multi-layered drama. Peter Dinklage as the short person in town who witnesses something maybe he shouldn't see, and he sort of gets to go out on a date with McDormand for for a little sidebar action. But I really like this. It's about processing grief, looking for justice, redemption, revenge. And Sam Rockwell is excellent in this movie too. He plays an unlikable character who's sort of browbeaten by his own mother. He lives in a shanty side of the town where he's drinking, and his mother's abusing him a little bit. He's sort of never outgrown. He's never really grown up. Let's face it.
Both him and Harrelson were nominated for Best Supporting Actor,
and they both deserved. Woody Harrelson's fantastic in this movie. There's something that happens to him. I don't want to give the plot line away, but he handles things the way you think people should handle things. Number 1 is, I'm in full agreement with Doc on this. It's The Town. I love this movie. My wife gets on my case because I watch it too much. Every time it's on, I'm there. I mean, there's something about the way the story unfolds that I love it. I like the Fenway Park scene in Boston. I love the interaction between the 4 main hoods, played by Affleck and Jeremy Renner, and these 2 lesser lights. I also like the romantic part with Rebecca Hall, the bank teller who he falls for a little bit. One of the first banks he robs, he ends up following her to make sure she doesn't recognize him, and a romance develops there. You got John Hamm as the FBI agent.
That's
Blake
right.
Blake Lively as the town floozy, who's she's bad news. Ben, I think, just uses her. And Pete Postlethwaite as the florist, who is sort of a mob boss in a way. He's got his own little muscle going on with, you're going to do it my way, or I'm going to kill your girlfriend. I'm going to kill everybody in your family, that type of thing. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is with Chris Cooper as Ben Affleck's father, who's incarcerated for life. And Ben goes to see him, and their dialogue is beautifully written. Affleck wrote the screenplay. He directs the film. This is the best thing he's ever done in my book. It's better than Gone Girl. It's better than Gone Baby Gone. It's better than Argo. I like this movie. It's the best thing he's ever done. The shootout scenes are fantastic.
Yeah.
The scenes, the driving around through the little side streets in Boston, well choreographed. You have everything in here. Jeremy Renner, let's not slight him either. He plays a evil best friend who is as cutthroat as you can get. He will kill anybody in his path. He's a psychopath, basically, I think.
Yeah, totally. He's crazy, man.
But all these years we just thought he was Hawkeye, and look at this. This guy just ate up our categories.
Wind River, the town.
Yeah. This is the strongest category for me of the 2010s. Wind River, Hell and High Water, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, 3 Billboards in the Town. Those are 5 great movies that I will continue to keep coming back to. I can't recommend them highly enough. Anybody that hasn't seen them, check them out.
Totally
Real
agree.
strong. All right, guys. Thanks again. We're going to wrap
Good
this
one.
up. Yeah, that was a good category. We're going to move on to the horror sci-fi. So be sure to join us. Remember to sub Brian at AYBL Main. Doc, thank you. Leave some
All good.
comments. Leave your lists. If you'd like to hear some crime thrillers that maybe we didn't touch on, or, support our choices. Either way, we'd like to hear some feedback and some top 5 lists of your own. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next time out. Thanks. Bye.